Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Championship Check-In podcast on a Monday. It's our new day. We hope you like it. We hope you don't miss your Thursdays too much. But we think this is going to be really good, Sam, don't we? We can piggyback off the weekend a little bit more. Although this weekend, an FA Cup weekend too. Sam, how you doing?
I'm good. I thought you were going to say a new dawn. Not as bright though, this one. Remember that?
Not as bright as my jumper on my background. Let's just get this up straight away. Franz Beckenbauer has died. So one of the all-time greats. So we will dedicate the show to probably the greatest centre-back sweeper ever to play the game. And let's jump straight into it, Sam. We will not stand on ceremony and go straight to Parkin's pick. Feels like we've done this Parkin's pick 13 times already this season, and there's a reason for that.
Mate, this could be a tough show. You missed an Office quote there, straight off the bat from me there. You missed it.
What was it?
A new dawn. You know, when he comes in and the new one's there. You know, the receptionist who's taken over from the dawn. Yeah, not as bright. Not as bright. We are talking 3, not 1, not 2, 3 new gaffers.
Can we caveat this? Plymouth are going to appear, Sam, in a segment later in the show. So you don't need to talk about Ian Foster. And I've talked about Tony Mowbray already. So we've got 3 new managers, but I want to hear your take on Luke Williams at Swansea and today, Tony Mowbray at Birmingham. We've talked a lot about Birmingham. You suggested it would fit a safe pair of hands, but not someone too pragmatic. This seems to be just about right, doesn't it, Mogger?
I think so. Yeah. Think of like that gradual progression that we all thought was sensible when the new owners came in and the noise started to reverberate around about this glossy new type manager they were going to go for. And then they did. They went for Wayne Rooney. But absolutely, Tony Mowbray feels like a nice kind of in-between. And I thought Steve Cooper would be that as well, if they could try and prize Steve Cooper into the Championship. Someone who can be pragmatic at times, but also kind of unleashes the forward players. So that's what they'll be hoping for. And above any of that, the experience of being there and the experience of dealing with Championship squads year after year. So you would hope that he'll be able to strike the right tone at both ends of the pitch. So I said it already somewhere else today. It is still a heck of a U-turn. Well, it's a U-turn. I don't know if it's a heck of a U-turn, but you know, if they'd have gone for Neil Warnock, let's say, I'd have been saying that would have been a U-turn at pace with a screech. This is still quite an amusing U-turn given the noises coming out of the owners. But again, something I just thought of kind of latterly today. You think about what Wrexham did, and I know we can't compare the two in terms of the size of the clubs, but that Phil Parkinson appointment was an appointment based on knowledge of others, right? So sounding board, speaking to other people, making a sensible decision to stabilise or to make slow, steady progressions. And I'm sure in time, Wrexham, if I can just stick with them for a moment, will change and appoint someone who brings a bit more flair. But for the moment, he served them really well, Phil Parkinson, and the other people around the club that they appointed. So I see that as a similar appointment from, you know, owners from over the Great Big Sea there. So there are similarities, and yeah, I think he's a good manager. I think it was harsh for him to leave Sunderland. I think it was probably a little bit results driven, but I thought a large portion was probably that he wasn't singing from the same hymn sheet as the decision makers at Sunderland. So paid for his job there, and he's got back in at a really good club with a brilliant opportunity.
Talk to me about Luke Williams then. So it's going to be known to most people for, well, good Wrexham link actually, for this absurd National League title race last year with Notts County and Wrexham both scoring ungodly amounts of points, and then Notts County ended up going through the playoffs. It's a very Swansea hire, actually, isn't it? Known for a sort of progressive style and a progressive outlook. Swansea, in terms of their power at Championship level, parachute payments are gone. Roden, James, insert about 5 other big ticket sales are gone. How are you feeling about this? And can you compare it to how you felt when Russ Martin came into Swansea?
Yeah, I think there's a level of risk attached because he's jumped a couple of levels and he's never been, in the hot seat per se, but he was at the club before under Russell Martin, and he'll know what they crave and what they've strived to be, I suppose. And they went away from it, no question, with the Michael Duff appointment. And I was, it's far to say I was astonished, but I was really surprised that he got given that job.
I disagreed with you on that, and you turned out to be right about that fit, didn't you? You were not smelling that from the start, were you?
I wasn't. And, I've been really impressed with him at Cheltenham previously, of course. And I thought Barnsley did a really good job, actually. But I just think I covered loads of games at Swansea. So I've done, quite a lot of reading over the last 5 years or so on Swansea, seen them copious amounts of times at home as well. And I just knew that the fans just craved that return to the good days, the kind of possession football, and they got it to a degree under Russell Martin, but it didn't bring great results until the tail end of the season. So I just felt that squad, the personnel within it, some of the better players are designed to play with a team that wants to dominate the ball and have the ball on the deck. And I think the likes of Grimes, I can go further back. I think Bashir Humphreys, Harry Darling, 2 excellent ball-playing centre-halves who are very capable of receiving it, playing forward, driving forward as well, probably, which we might see introduced. Grimes, what I feel about Matt Grimes as a footballer. I think he's so underrated. I think that he should have been a Premier League player with the attributes that he's got. Patino, Luke Williams has already spoke up over the last, since the game at the weekend. He wants to get more out of him. That'll be music to his ears. They've got all these diminutive little players. So to play maybe a style where they were putting in loads of crosses or going back to front at times, it just wasn't suitable. I know Luke a little bit, obviously, from his time at Swindon as well. So I did text him a few weeks ago, but I think he's changed his number. That's the story I'm telling anyway. But I think it's a brilliant fit. I'm not saying this is going to immediately mean they're going to rack up the victories, but in terms of someone that was getting headlines written about him, you've seen all the he's a bit of a social media darling, isn't he, at the moment? The little snippets we've seen of him in the dressing room.
The narrative was he was going against the big Hollywood juggernaut and for the most part beating them last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then you had the one from the fans forum on corner kicks. I don't know if you saw that this season.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, it was great, yeah.
So all of that and again, I'm so reluctant because it's the kind of language I kind of detest at times, but
old fuddy-duddy.
But it is the Swansea way to a degree. All those managers they had, and listen, that is coming from my experience as well. That the Liberty Stadium was one of the worst fixtures of the season for me during that period when they had, it might have been Joe Allen, but Mark Gower, Gary Monk. They had these players that just used to get it off the goalkeeper and pop it about, and you didn't get a touch. I used to absolutely hate. Ashley Williams would have been there with Gary Monk. I hated it. They were all so comfortable on the ball, and I'm sure this is with that in mind that they've gone to Luke Williams, who, in terms of someone at the lower level, has been playing that football to a T and in an immaculate fashion.
Plymouth fans, we promise we are going to get to talk about you in just a second. I'm just going to put this up because Finn asks, which was better, Palmer or Bamford's goal? Let's not name names, but that's quite a good tee up, that actually. Let's go to Worldie of the Week. FA Cup third round week. You do get all the championship teams in that. The rules are still the same. Let us know in the chat who, by the way, hello to all the people in the chat. I don't think we said hello at the top of the show. Do hit the thumbs up button and keep the debate moving. We need you now. Let us know what you thought. Listen carefully to my words now, guys. What's the best goal scored by a Championship player this week? Not the best goal scored by a player who plays for the team you support, which tends to be the answer we normally get. But I think we've got a clear winner this week, although you do want to give an honourable mention to Casey Palmer, Sam.
Yeah, to answer Finn's question now, I have a clear and concise answer to that. In second place, it's Casey Palmer. I'll tell you for why, because I've covered Casey Palmer's career since he was 17, 18 at Chelsea in the 23s. And I will tell you for now, that is not even in his top 15 goals that he scored, right? He had a catalogue at Chelsea before he'd even played a professional game that was so much better than that. I'm talking individual goals, little flicks, volleys from distance, curlers, overheads. Honestly, the array that boy had, and I think my mate who I work with at Chelsea TV, Matt, tweeted in a parallel universe somewhere, Casey Palmer is the best player in the world. Do you know what I mean? He has got incredible ability. So for that one, pretty run of the mill. As amazing as it was in the context of football, FA Cup third round, but in terms of context where Casey Palmer's concerned, not even close. Oh, Finn's had a go back at me. That isn't the question, no. But still,
you get the same answer anyway.
Well, I thought it was a good strike. I thought it was a great strike from 25 yards, but it's not in the same league as Patrick Bamford's. That is an incredible goal. And at the tail end of my career, I tended to take a lot more balls on my chest, partly because you could pin. I know he took it in between two centre halves, so it was slightly different. But in terms of getting the team up the pitch and bringing others into play, I took loads more balls on my chest. So I've always noticed that Patrick Bamford's actually very adept at that. But the angle that's been doing the rounds this morning on social media, the movement on the ball as well, yeah, it's an astonishing goal.
Well, I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about the goal, and then I just want to talk about Bamford in general, because we can insert cliche, much maligned there. On the goal first, Sam, as a professional football player, so the ball comes diagonal to him. It's a brilliant chest because he's got both feet off the ground when he leaps to chest it. As that ball's coming down, every bit of logic says you do not shoot. The percentage of, chance of you whipping that over your shoulder, curling it away from the keeper into the corner. If you're playing the percentages, that is not the right decision. Is there part of you as a footballer, though, that gets the chest control so perfect and the ball's falling and you just in that split second think, I don't care, I have to hit this, even if I blast it out of the stadium? What's your take on just the decision making?
I think it's a player that's probably always had that in his armory. I mean, the only one that jumps out to me right now is the one he scored in training. That was caught
when Bielsa runs over to him.
Yeah, that was captured on video. So people at home might be thinking I'm an idiot saying this, or there may be some in Bamford's back catalogue. But I think he does strike a nice clean ball on that left foot. So I thought it was brilliant awareness because, yeah, the normal thing to do, the obvious thing to do would to be let the ball drop and probably just set it or play it wide. So I think it's great awareness. I think the touch does play a part, that it probably makes it too tempting not to take on. But I think a part of it is probably the player having that in his armory. I'll give you an example. Rory Fallon, who I played with at Swindon, who went to Ipswich latterly, I think, had a really good career. The best volleyer I ever saw in my career. Scored a goal against Bristol City for Swindon at the county ground. Scored an amazing goal in a Scottish Cup final. He scored an amazing goal for Swansea at the Millennium. I mean, his catalogue, again, was ridiculous. But he did that, taking the ball mid-flight on his chest and then volleying. So I think, you kind of got to have that in your...
To even try it, yeah?
Yeah, in your makeup. Yeah, in your kind of... Yeah, footballing DNA, if you like. I certainly didn't, but I think Bamford is a player that has. I thought it was an amazing goal.
Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, everything, Sam, as the way he plants his foot, the way he hits and then to curl it away from the keeper as well. Magnificent. Let's just talk more about Bamford in general, because he's a proper lightning rod. And I don't want to get into class debates and potential reasons why football supporters don't click with him per se, but he's just one of these players who there's never a middle ground in terms of a sensible conversation about. He's either heavily praised or heavily criticised, but he's not been scoring any goals. He's an England striker. I think he scored 17 or something in Leeds' first Premier League season. He scored 1 in the past year, and he's not been firing this season, Sam. And he missed that penalty, didn't he, at Stoke? And he's been used off the bench, and he's going on a podcast, and none of it's really looking very good optic-wise. But we remember Daniel Farke's number 9, number 10 rant, and we know that Marcelo Bielsa, who can probably outthink most people on football, bought him as a lone sort of number 9 player, didn't he? And he started the last 2 games and he scored in both of them. Is this a player that can make an impact in the promotion race?
Yeah, I think he's going to have to play very well, or probably be very reliant on a loss of form or an injury to get a long run in the team right now. I think the other 2 are very, very good. I think Joel Piroe has probably got quite a lot of similarities to Patrick Bamford, actually. Left-footed, quite a languid style, really good finisher. I think Bamford, I mean, he's always, divided opinion. And I would probably say that I've not always been a massive fan of him. I've not always seen what he contributes. And I probably went a little bit with the line that was being given when Bielsa was picking him every week, because it was all about what he did without the ball, his pressuring from the front and leading that attack in that regard. And I probably bought into that, while deep down within me, I wasn't too convinced about him as a centre forward at a leading side. So yeah, brilliant for him, brilliant for the club, for Daniel Farke, that they've got that option. But yeah, I still think he's probably going to be playing third fiddle, if that's a phrase, to the other 2 have been pretty good. We probably expected more from them. I know Reuter's been pretty good across the piece, but I probably still, as a 2, I thought they were going to be like streets ahead of anyone. And there's been examples of that, but I think still the 2 of them can kick on to greater extent in the second half of the season.
Nice thing to have, though, England striker coming into the reckoning halfway through the season in a promotion race. And what a goal for Pat Bamford. Let's lower the tone. Now it's time for Cause for Concern. Go with the caveats straight away, as we always do with this. Cause for Concern is Plymouth this week. And we did have Plymouth a couple of weeks ago, but we wanted to talk about Plymouth and get them in. We wanted to give them a little bit of time, because we now know who Steven Schumacher's replacement is. And we now know that Finn Azaz is not going to be at Plymouth for the second half of the season. And we now know that Luke Cundle is not going to be at Plymouth for the second half of the season, and may end up as a very unpopular fella, because he may end up at Stoke with Steven Schumacher. But where are we now on Plymouth, Sam? Because we've kind of been tracing this line of, if Schumacher's there, no problems, they're staying in the division, fine. We were wondering, depending on the identity of the new manager, and it's it's Ian Foster, who's like a proper FA guy, Sam. Won the Euros with the under-19s, won the World Cup, assistant to Steve Cooper with the under-17s, managed the under-20s. So it's all very Steve Cooper, isn't it? Worked with Phil Neville and the Lionesses. He's been with Stevie Gerrard in Saudi, but it's his first solo job in club management. Where is your Plymouth line in terms of that? We did think they were a definite to stop up, and now we know the identity, and it's Ian Foster.
Yeah, I think it's still a concern, isn't it? Because he's a relative unknown in terms of coming in at the Championship level. That said, it's exactly the type of the appointment that I anticipated without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, he's even from the Northwest. He's even, I think, got a slight Scouse twang. So, I mean, it's very much in keeping. He had a lower league career, I think a non-league career. And he's obviously had some brilliant jobs during his coaching journey so far. I mean, Steven Gerrard's tenure in Saudi Arabia is not going well, but he's chosen assistants and first-team coaches pretty well to this point, I would suggest, in Neil Critchley, Mick Beale, and now this chap, if he goes on and becomes a success. So, yeah, I think a lot of it's probably going to hinge on January, on what they can do in the transfer market, now that they definitely need to improve. Just on that, I just saw a question about Ash Phillips coming on loan from Tottenham.
That's a great signing.
It's a great signing. And, they're scoring goals. They've been scoring goals freely under the director of football in the last few games. So tightening them up so they can still play attractive, attacking, expansive football would be, high on his list of priorities. I don't know if there's anything in this, but he's worked with Morgan Whittaker before as well. So if they're trying to keep him at the club, and if they are going to have to rebuff offers, then bringing someone in who he knows, who's going to, Morgan Whittaker's going to enjoy working with him. If he's going to remain at Argyle, he's not going to probably be there long term if his career continues to be on an upward trajectory. But to work with someone who knows him, who can get the best out of him, will be a positive. Likewise with some other young players there, if that's his background. What I will say as well, I noticed today, and I think we touched on the fixtures about a month ago that were horrid for Argyle, or maybe slightly longer ago, which they've navigated now. They've played all of the top 11 away from home, apart from Sunderland. Already.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, that away record is dismal at the moment, but hopefully it can improve. And home game 7 of the top 9, they've still got to play, and that's their strong suit, isn't it? So they've got the tougher games at home park, but they start with Cardiff, West Bromwich Albion, and Coventry. So 3 teams currently in the top 9. But irrelevant of that, you can still see them taking points at home. So, yeah, I think the next 2's Huddersfield and Cardiff, 2 good first games for him. Then it gets trickier. But like I said, all those tough away games out of the way now. So let's look at that, and let's look at what they've achieved over the last 18 months and probably not get too bogged down in them having to look over their shoulders.
We always look at long-term stability as a good predictor of if the club's stable and the manager comes in. Is that going to be the difference? That he's coming into nice, stable surroundings and a club essentially on an upward trajectory? Is that maybe a helper, or does that go out the window if he loses his first few games?
No, I think everyone's like really unified there, aren't they? And I was at the Southampton game the other day. They actually set up in a different manner there. They actually came and camped in behind the ball, made it really difficult for Southampton. So I think Neil Dewsnip and the rest of the staff have been looking at probably different ways of attacking games and taking points in the Championship. So maybe that will put them in good stead moving forward. But no, I think he comes into a club that's fully united, and I would imagine there's been a lot of detail gone into making this decision. I think the director of football is the link with Ian Foster from their time working in the age groups at England. So it feels very similar, even though Ryan Lowe probably had a better playing career and had already had the job at Bury. I see a lot of similarities to this appointment, and it was exactly the way I thought it would go, and I expect them to be fine.
There we go. Ian Foster is our third manager in this round, this week in between our 2 podcasts. 13 managerial. If you go back to Darren Moore in July, Sam, 13 managerial changes in the Championship. And I think most of them are the bottom sort of 8 or 9 clubs where everybody has changed. And we now have 3 managers for Sheffield Wednesday this season and 3 managers for Birmingham. Let's move on before we start looking ahead. Let's have a look at our Meltdown moment. we were looking for a big cup upset, probably. It was probably Stevenage losing to Maidstone rather than any championship team. But we do still have a meltdown moment this week, Sam, and it's good old Cardiff City.
Yeah, we could have just beamed up a picture of Steve Evans going ballistic there, couldn't we? Yeah, we missed a trick, didn't we? Yeah, we're going to go for Cardiff's capitulation at Sheffield Wednesday. When I say capitulation in terms of the comedy value of the missed pens, the goal conceded, the Sawyer's own goal. Oh, there was another one, the one that I think Liam Palmer finished off. It was beautifully teed up by a
Cardiff but they can't
defender.
clear it, can they?
No, it's beautiful setup from a couple of Cardiff defenders who I failed to note their names down. But yeah, it was, do you know what? It was an incredibly open game and it no way was a 4-0. I think Cardiff had in the region of 20 odd shots or something like that. And yeah, they were very open Wednesday as well. So I don't think, firstly, for Cardiff fans, if there's any watching or watching back or listening, I don't think it reflected the game particularly well, the scoreline. But yeah, Ryan Wintle and Callum Robinson, wasn't it? Missing penalties.
Inside the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Two penalties missed inside the first 10 minutes. Crikey.
Yeah, incredible saves. The first one especially, the one that popped up in the air and Dawson was able to save it. Conceded in the opening 2 minutes as well, didn't they, at the start of the game?
FA Cup draw is going on as we speak, so keep us posted. Is that really true? We just mentioned Maidstone United. They're off to Portman Road. That is a no-win situation draw, if ever there was one, Sam. I'm sorry. I'll flash, stick the FA Cup draw as we go up, and we'll try and keep Sam on topic, but we'll flash them up as we go. Does it do anything in terms of the league form, or is it one that Errol Ballou is just going to be able to park?
Well, I think they've had, 7 points from the 4 games over the festive period. So they would have taken that, I would suggest. So not too much to worry about. And yeah, they've got a tough game at the weekend, haven't they? Is it Leeds at the weekend? I think. But right on cue, Leeds against Plymouth in the FA Cup. So no, I think they've had a pretty good Christmas. They've been able to blood some younger players in this competition who did quite well. So I wouldn't be overly concerned, especially the amount of chances they were able to create and spurn. But for comedy value, Cardiff over Steve Evans getting beaten by George Elokobi, who used to play for Colchester, did he not? So Ipswich, Colchester, that'd be a nice one for him as well.
Managed by Mick McCarthy with Wolves, wasn't he? Yeah, we're not normally going to be clashing with the FA Cup draw. Leeds-Plymouth is, as Mally points out, actually a home draw for Leeds, and it's our first all-championship draw. So we're not actually sponsored by the FA Cup draw. We're actually sponsored by Match Bingo for the rest of the show, because we're going to look ahead at the round 27 fixtures, Sam. We're going to be into the last 20. I'll pop through them in just a second. Keep your FA Cup games coming up, and we'll try and keep our focus on this. And we are going to have a look at a mouth-watering matchup. So, as I said, round 26, round 27, excuse me, this coming weekend, back after the FA Cup break. These are the fixtures. Let us know what you think your mouth-watering matchup is. On Friday night, it is Hull versus Norwich. It's Coventry versus Leicester, which could be interesting. If anyone can, it's nice to have Leicester playing away at one of the form teams in the division. See if anyone can test them. It's Birmingham, Swansea for two of our new managers there, Mowbray versus Williams. Cardiff Leeds is always a bit spicy off the pitch, Sam. We'll see what it's like on it. Real big one there. Look at that. Huddersfield versus Plymouth. If you are Huddersfield, you've got that one circled to try and reel Argyle in. The George Savile derby is Millwall versus Middlesbrough. It's Preston versus Bristol City. Rotherham, who have been decent under Liam Richardson at the New York. They always seem to keep that thing up, whoever's managing them. Rotherham v Stoke. It is in-form Southampton versus in-form Sheffield Wednesday. West Brom versus Blackburn. At 5:30 is my lot, Ipswich versus Mick Beale's lot, Sunderland. And then we do have a Sunday game as well. They always play a pre-season friendly, don't they? These two, QPR versus Watford. Let us know your mouth-watering matchups in the chat. Seeing any more cup draws coming in? I don't think we are. So we'll try and keep focused on the job in hand. Sam, who have we picked for this week's mouth-watering matchup?
We're going St Mary's, Southampton against Sheffield Wednesday.
So I hate to say this as an Ipswich fan. Is this where, what's that John Lennon song where he goes, the dream is over? Is potentially we could get Southampton go past Ipswich, either temporarily or permanently if the results go, if they win and Ipswich lose. But Saints play 3:00, Ipswich play at 5:30. So any kind of win for Southampton does make the overtake. And for the first time, they'll be touching second place. How significant could that be, Sam, that gap finally is then all of a sudden closed up with Ipswich going on the TV against Sunderland?
Yeah, I think it's another pivotal weekend. I think Ipswich came through at AFC Wimbledon pretty comfortably in the end. A few scares along the way, but to get through without any injuries, the opportunity to keep Chaplin for one, Luongo wrapped up nice and warm. I think Wes Burns got 5 minutes or so, if memory serves me right, but it was a pretty good weekend for them. The striker issue is a problem, no doubt. I thought Broadhead was the best player on the pitch for Ipswich on the day at the weekend, so possibly he could be blooded down the middle. But I think there are problems at Ipswich that aren't aware, that I'm not acutely aware of at Southampton. Sorry, so they come into this game again at the weekend, with all the players pretty much available, with players improving. I think that's the important point. Whereas some of the Ipswich levels are maybe just plateauing, or maybe some players are just slightly out of form. The Southampton guys, defensively, Bednarak and Harwood Bellis are getting better and better and better. I think they've pretty much played every game of this run, maybe one of the defeats, and then the subsequent run, they've been in tandem at centre half. So, yeah, they've got loads of players in form, scoring freely, 7 straight home wins, thump Walsall in the cup, and up against a Sheffield Wednesday side who, won 6 in 10, 3 straight wins under Danny Rowe. I don't think there's many managers that have had this kind of impact at any club in the country this season. He's getting so many plaudits for the way that they're playing, and undoubtedly, in my mind, soon they're going to be probably above Huddersfield, or certainly level with Huddersfield. It's a matter of time, in my opinion, because there's a huge contrast in the way the two teams are performing at the moment.
Sheffield Wednesday surely aren't going to go to Southampton and win, though, are they? Is this just a case of can they leave with anything, given we know the hierarchy and the financial disparity and the quality disparity? They were 2 divisions apart last season, for goodness sakes. Surely if you're a Wednesday fan, insert Ipswich fan, Leeds fan as well, you're just hoping Wednesday can leave with a point, aren't you?
Yeah, I think their intensity could hurt Southampton. Their youthfulness, he's injected real pace. Obviously, the starting striker at times has been Kadamatari. So yeah, I think the kind of tactical battle will be really interesting. I think there's flexibility in the way that Danny Rowe sets his team up, the way they go and try and press teams. I think he'll have a go in this game. I think we've seen enough from him to say that he's not going to close down many matches. I think he'll go and have a go at St Mary's, which should make it a good spectacle as well.
I just got that feeling, Sam, of on the Formula One where they plan the overtake, don't they? They know the exact corner and the slipstream and where they need to be positioned because they know their car's going faster than the other. Do you feel that about Southampton and Ipswich at the moment?
What is it? Is it 1 win in 5 Ipswich, or no wins in 5?
I think. Well, it depends if you're just doing EFL games. It's no wins in 5. If it's just EFL games, but obviously played Leicester and Leeds in that time. But as you said, it does feel the trend is steeper upwards, certainly for Southampton and Ipswich at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does do. But, this is, I saw the fringe players, come away with a good victory at the weekend. I think the games have been pretty tricky. We've got a derby in there. There was the 2-2 with Leicester. And this hasn't been an easy run for Ipswich. We always envisaged it being a tough period for them. So they've got through it, still in the automatic positions, albeit below them. Leeds have had some impressive victories and Southampton have shown incredible consistency. So again, it's going to be determined by, a lot of it will be determined by what Ipswich can do in the transfer market, I would presume.
Yeah. And maybe we'll talk about it in the predictions, but we're going to go to player to watch, and that player to watch could have been Lewis Travis, who's got to possibly, if he starts, step straight into Sam Morsey's boots. But he's not our player to watch, Sam, because you're about to announce that. We love a narrative, don't we? We love a return, Sam. Who's the player to watch this week?
We're going Daryl Dike.
Daryl Dike. How many times have you said to me, you see, West Brom are good. They make lots of chances. They just lack a clinical striker, a presence up there to finish them off. Daryl Dike returned for his first football since April. I think he started, didn't he? They did it the other way around. He started and scored against Aldershot. What sort of a difference for a fifth placed West Brom side he's not going to be fully fit straight away, but can a contributing Daryl Dike make towards the end of this season, Sam?
Yeah, well, it's a bit in the Josh Sargent Norwich mould, isn't it? I would say could be the missing piece of the jigsaw, could really propel them up the table. So I'd be excited if I was a Baggies fan. If you had been really forthright and really confident and being a bit out there, I think you would say it and say it consistently that West Brom have so often missed the centre forward, and that has been glaringly obvious for so long, for so much of the last year, 18 months. So yeah, hopefully he can hit the ground running. I don't think he's probably an amazing Championship striker. I think he showed during that spell at Barnsley that he's a real handful. He can finish. I'm not sure if he's someone you're going to play and be able to rely on 90 minute after 90 minute, but they got other players that can do that role. You think of Preston away this season, and I think it was the first defeat Preston suffered. They didn't go with a striker. They won 4-0 at Deepdale. So there's different ways that Carlos Corberán will attack it, but absolutely to have an out-and-out centre forward, probably capable of starting games for 60 minutes, maybe 70 minutes, give it everything and take him off. Lovely option for him to have. I actually watched a bit of him at Orlando City, I want to say, before he made the move over. And he was scoring goals freely there. He was very young at the time, very raw, but definitely had something. And that finish the other day was quite in keeping with what I've seen from him in the early part of his career. He likes thumping them in. He's a good kind of 6-yard box penalty spot type player. Put balls into areas, he'll attack them and he'll smash them goalwards. And I really like that finish. No nonsense in the roof of the net. And I tell you what, he absolutely loved it, didn't he? Which was a nice thing to see. Someone who's been out a while. Yes, it was Aldershot in the cup, but when you're notching and you've got that hunger and that passion, I'm all for that. Really nice.
How do you reintegrate a striker who's been out for so long versus wanting to play them very, for a lot of minutes because because of all the things you've just said? They're going to have to be patient with it, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know how long he played at the weekend, but yeah, back-to-back
first half possibly. I'll check that while you're talking.
Back-to-back games, problematic. I would imagine maybe in the Championship he'd possibly be used as an impact player the next couple of games. This obviously coming when it did. The FA Cup game was a perfect opportunity to put him in against lower league opposition. But yeah, they'll have to be careful. We've seen, with players that have been out for the season that are just coming back now, invariably you'll pick up other little knock-on injuries. I think And Kunku's suffering with that at Chelsea at the moment, isn't he? So once you're back, it doesn't mean you're fit to play every game for the remainder of the season. You got a box clever, and I'm sure Carlos Corberán will, because he's dealt with it for so long, and they're well positioned.
Well, when you said clever there, I'm sure that's a word that gets put with Carlos Corberán a fair amount, doesn't it? Right. I think we are all the way up to the predictions now. So get your pencils ready if you're not too busy watching the FA Cup draw, and stick with us here because it is predictions time. Right, Sam, our predictions are in association with Match Bingo. As ever, I will show you my card for Norwich versus Hull midway through this segment. What's the scores on the doors? Is it 42-44? Is that right?
That's it, mate. Yeah, you got a cushion of 2, 44-42 after a thriller last time out where we were, 3 on the nose, I think we had, and you got a bonus point.
Unbelievable scenes. So with all that being said, you can start this week then, Sam, and it is Hull versus Norwich on Friday night. How do you see this one going?
I'm just going to let you know now, if I'm in agreement, you can give me your score line whenever you like and say, I want my bonus point on this game, and we can confer and I can agree or deny. I'm going to play my 1-1 very early here. Hull v Norwich. That was their scores in the FA Cup the other day. Norwich continue to frustrate me. I think they're going to turn a corner, and this corner's getting further and further away. Oh, Carvalho to make his debut. Oof.
Yes, please. Yeah.
What a player. But again, I'm a little bit inconsistent still. I think this could be a draw, and I'm taking 1-1.
I'm going to go with my Norwich friends, who were really grumpy after they drew with Bristol Rovers in the Cup at the weekend. So I'm going to back against Norwich. So I'm not necessarily backing Hull here, but I'm backing Norwich to lose, because Friday night away up at the MKM doesn't necessarily feel great. I think the two tempos of the two teams are very different. So I will add a goal on to your score, Sam, but I'm going to add the goal on to Hull. And I'm going to say Hull 2, Norwich 1. And we're going to move on to Coventry versus Leicester. Can we actually have Leicester dropping some points now, maybe? Coventry are 1 defeat in 11. They're very good defensively. They seem to have finally mitigated the absences of Gyökeres and Hamer, who I thought we wouldn't be mentioning by now, but we still are. I wonder, can they get themselves a little draw here, Sam? I think they might be able to. So I'm going to take your score from the first round. You're 1-1, and I'm going to shove it in here. Coventry 1, Leicester 1. Leicester to actually drop some points, Sam. What do you think?
Well, they spurned a lot of opportunities, didn't they, at Leicester? First game of the season?
I was there.
Yeah. Sims missed a few, didn't he? Godden missed a few. They really had some good chances. I'm with you here. Coventry on a good little run, thumping win in the cup. I played golf in that kind of neck of the woods in the summer, and I don't think there's much love lost between these two. So that could be a good atmosphere. I'm going to go for the 2-2.
Love it. And let's move you along, Sam. Get your predictions in the comments, by the way. Play along, everybody. Who's next, Sam? It's Birmingham. It's Tony Mowbray's Birmingham versus Luke Williams' Swansea. Good luck with that. You got no form on either of them in the EFL. Literally 0 matches done between them in the EFL.
Yeah, if anyone has been watching religiously throughout the season now, normally I expect that little upturn, that performance, just in that first one, like stopping the rot. Neither of these teams really need to stop the rot. Probably Birmingham more than Swansea, certainly Birmingham more than Swansea. But I'm going to go for Tony Mowbray to get the plaudits. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Birmingham win. And, kind of Luke coming out, we did some nice stuff, but, we just missed that finishing touch today. Everyone relatively comfortable and composed afterwards, but Birmingham to nick it.
I was going to say exactly the same thing, Sam, but I don't want to double you up. So I will instead put in a nice, friendly 2-1 home win for Birmingham, and we'll rattle a few of these off in the comments. Help me out, guys, in the comments. Stick the team names in there as well, because obviously we've got people commenting on different games here. They were our meltdown moment, Cardiff, and they are facing Leeds. Leeds, who are really good, but not really good away from home. So I'm very conflicted here. Normally, I'd be very confidently backing Leeds here, but they do struggle away from home. But I do still think they're going to have enough to beat Cardiff, Sam. So I'm going to go Cardiff 0, Leeds 2. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm on same wavelength, mate, to be honest. Although I think that Cardiff will probably score, given Leeds' woes on the road. Is it 6 defeats? Have I missed one there? It certainly was last time I looked it up, 6 away defeats. Normally by the odd goal, but I think they'll be too strong here. I am with Saint 194. Cardiff 1, Leeds 3 for me.
Yeah, the chat's fairly strong on Leeds there. So you were 3-1.
3-1, yeah.
We're going to stick with you, Sam. And frankly, this could have been the mouthwatering matchup, couldn't it? Huddersfield versus Plymouth, and a real chance to reel in Plymouth for Huddersfield, who did have that good heavy home win over Blackburn, didn't they? Can they do it again, Sam?
Not according to my prediction, and this is where I'd like. This is where I'd like my bonus point, and this is why.
I need some goals. Then get me some goals.
There's no goals, my friend.
Oh,
Plymouth, Argyle have not won. I'm right in saying on the road this season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a bit of a wretched game. Probably Ryan Hardy. I'm going to go for 1-0 Argyle for my bonus point. You happy with that?
Yeah, I think that's worthy of a bonus point, isn't it? I don't see it, Sam. I don't see it. I know you know more about football than me, but new manager, I think Huddersfield will be a bit more kind of confident. So I'll go against you then, and I'll flip the scorelines. And not for a bonus point, I'll go Huddersfield 1, Plymouth 0. Let me just stick a few of these up in the chat. There you go. A few people have backed Plymouth. Maybe I just don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Sam, Millwall versus Middlesbrough, and Millwall were our Parkin's pick last week. They 4 clean sheets on the trot and 3 straight wins, but they did lose in the FA Cup. But they were playing Leicester, who win every week, don't they? Smells like a draw to me, Sam. Being it's not Rowett anymore and it's Joe Williams. I'll play my Desmond here then. Millwall 2, Middlesbrough 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be sandwiched in between Middlesbrough's Carabao Cup semi-final legs.
Fair
with
point.
Chelsea. They play Chelsea. That said, I mean, it's a hell of a lot of travelling if they're at home, aren't they? They're at home in the first leg tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're at home, but still, I think that could come into play here. And for that reason, I was simultaneously doing a game at the weekend while Millwall-Leicester was going on. It was Millwall-Leicester, wasn't it? I was at AFC Wimbledon. So I heard it coming down the line, and, Millwall had some good periods in that game. I think they could nick this. I'm going to go for Middlesbrough to score because I like them going forward, but I'm going to go for Millwall to win 2-1.
The Lions to keep up their great run. We're going to be keeping up with the predictions very soon. But if you look above Sam Parkin's head, you'll see our lovely friends at Match Bingo are sponsoring the back end of this podcast and indeed this segment. And I have got my card, Sam. We'll see what you make of this. For Hull versus Norwich, you too can do the same. It's £2. There it is. And on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side there, I need a headed goal for Norwich. And I can show you there. Josh Sargent has 3 of those, Sam. So he might be my guy for that. And what else do I need? Any goal awarded during the second 12th to 22nd minute. That actually happened in the last Hull game. But against them, if you look there, Josh Windass scoring. I've got some lovely stuff as well on the other side. Get involved. Match Bingo, you can see there. £175 worth in the prize pot there. Remember, our friend Paul on the mega bonus. Won £1,000 on this. Get involved over at matchbingo.com. Just pause your phone there. Use that QR code. They'll let you know we have sent you. And we're back into the predictions, Sam. Whose go is it? It's you, isn't it? And it's Preston versus Bristol City. What are you thinking?
Well, I was at Chelsea on Saturday evening, and I thought Preston's game plan in the first half was actually pretty good. They set up in a kind of back five with a 4 diamond, with Keane at the top of the diamond. And then in the first half, it was as Majic introduced Ched Evans and Emil Rees in the second half, when they absolutely capitulated. Not to do with those two guys, but they capitulated second half. As soon as the first one went in, they were absolutely disjointed. And I think this could be one of those toxic afternoons at a football ground in this country. The fans weren't particularly enamoured with the way Ryan Lowe left the field after the game. There was, I think, 7,000. There was certainly about 100 coaches, because I walked past all of them on the way to Imperial Wharf Station. They got a good round of applause, the Preston North End players, but I didn't think they were particularly good in that second half. And I think Bristol City are finding that rhythm under Liam Manning. I'm going to go for 2-1 Bristol City, and a few heated feelings maybe displayed if it doesn't go the way of North End.
Know where you're coming from, yeah, because the trend, especially, I think the Bristol City fans are quite high on that performance at West Ham. That was good, wasn't it, in the cup? They're a happy bunch, and Preston aren't. I might land the unhelpful draw then on this one, Sam, and I haven't had one yet this week. So I'm going to go 0 on this one, and we'll see if it's a dirgy one. Sorry, any Bristol City fans travelling all the way up there for no goals, if that does indeed happen. Let's move on. Get your predictions in via the comments for Rotherham versus Stoke. Rotherham, what were the 2 home games recently? So they beat Middlesbrough and drew with Sunderland, is that right? And some hope given there. Have Stoke improved under Schumacher? I guess they have. He hasn't lost, has he? Which is leading me down the draw road again, but I've already had 2 draws. So let's do something very silly and try and get a bonus point then. I'll go for a draw, but I don't want 2 goals, Sam. I don't want 4. I want 6. I want a bonus point for this, Sam. Rotherham 3, Stoke 3. Are you granting a bonus point for that?
Yes, mate, absolutely. I was going to say I'll give you 2 bonus points, but 1 sufficient
it's just
enough.
Rotherham getting more than a goal.
It's mad, isn't it? Because since you've said that, I just visualised it, and I could see it. I could see Stoke 3-1 up and then getting bombarded. You know what I mean?
Don't worry, mate. It won't happen. It never does with me.
A couple of set pieces. I'm playing my 0-0 here, mate.
Okay.
Yeah. 0-0, I think, Robert. I think he's had a couple of stalemates, has he not? I think he did have a 0-0 against Ipswich, didn't he, Schumacher, and a 1-1 with Watford. I'm going to play my 0-0.
And we're going to move you on to our mouthwatering matchup, Sam, which is Southampton, who will go second for whatever length of time it takes that game to finish before Ipswich kick off at 5:30 if they beat Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm going to go for... Sorry, I got confused there. We scored 2 at Blackburn.
No, he's got confused. You were talking about Stoke having stalemates. He's talking about Rotherham.
Yeah, indeed. Southampton, Sheffield Wednesday. I think they're going to have a go, Sheffield Wednesday. I think it'll be a good game. I think they'll both score, but I think Southampton will be far too strong in the end. 3-1.
Yeah, I'm going a similar way. I can see this unbeaten run going and going, looking at the fixtures. So you've gone 3-1. That's probably what I would have taken. Let's go for a nice cushy 2-0 then. So 1 less goal, but same margin of victory. But Saints to win again. And yeah, look, the chat are all hot on Southampton, as you would imagine they would be after 18 games unbeaten and 7 consecutive EFL home wins. It's me, and it's West Brom versus Blackburn. So yeah, we chatted to a Blackburn fan on Blue Monday about Lewis Travis going, and I know they've brought in a couple of loans to replace, but it does always feel like a lot of deserting happens at Blackburn, and then the manager's required to just keep them moving. With it being at West Brom, you'd make the Baggies pretty strong favourites, wouldn't you? Blackburn love a goal. Sammy Smodic, by the way, hat-trick in the FA Cup. We love that. That's going to pad his total a bit. So we have Blackburn to score. So the obvious one would be West Brom 2, Blackburn 1, Sam.
Yeah, I fancy West Brom here strongly. I'll go for a rare off day for Blackburn and their attack, Smodics in particular. I'll go for 2-0.
And you get to do your former club and the club I support, Sam, Ipswich versus Sunderland.
I think if we went back over previous podcasts, I'd probably go for this scoreline for every single Ipswich home game.
Is it going to be 3-2?
It is going to be 3-2. There is like a part of me that think, this could get worse for Ipswich, and, they could potentially lose this, 1-0 at home, and, everyone will be in despair. I just think it'll be really good fun. I just think they'll go at it, these two. I'll go for a 3-2.
I think Sunderland are going to get something, and I hate myself for saying that. I just think without Morsey in central midfield, without Hurst, so I'm going to do my second Desmond of the round. I don't know if that ever happens in real life, not in just the predictions. So I'm going to go for Sunderland to, I think they might take the lead twice as well. Ipswich 2, Sunderland 2, which would just, by my predictions, keep them in second position. But it sounds like it's going to be a little bit scary. I need to flip the page for the last one. Sam, it's not a pre-season friendly. It's QPR, your lot, versus Watford. Oh, and it's me. QPR versus Watford. Oh, God. Can I pick a winner in this one? I could get a bonus point for this, couldn't I? QPR going to beat Watford, Sam? They're not going to beat Watford, are they? They're going to get a point? I don't think they are. Sorry, Sam. I'll back Watford. QPR 1, Watford 2. Scientific. Go.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I had written down. But
get rid of it.
Considering it's Sunday and I might go, 12 o'clock, yeah? Sunday.
Yeah.
Stick me down for 2-1 Rangers.
Go on, Sam. You love to see it. There we go. So those are our predictions. Make sure you play along. If you're watching this as a clip later in the week, you can come and play. It's going to be on Monday nights now, live as we go. But if you are on the clip on YouTube, stick your score lines in. Give yourself a point if you get the right outcome. Give yourself 3 if you get the right score line. And big mouth YouTuber with no credibility is beating ex-professional footballer by 2 points here, Sam, because the score is 44-42. Are you confident of overtaking me this week?
Not necessarily this week, but I'll win by a margin of 10.
It's playing the long game.
I'm confident. It was like City chasing down Arsenal last season, and I had a neighbour who's an Arsenal fan, and I was just sending him 2-word messages throughout the second half of the season, just 6 points. And then when they were struggling to overtake them, City, I was just decreasing it. It started at about they'll win the league by 12 points. By April, it was still 5 points, mate. 5 points. I don't know what it was in the end, but I was right, and I'll be right again here.
Right, we're going to go to some Q&A if we get time. We're running a little bit behind, so we're going to have to move pretty quickly here because Mr. Parkin has some parenting duties to do. But let's quickly do the week that was, Sam. Right, quiz time. Where did we lose all that time, Sam? We're up the hour already. Let's do this quickly then, Sam. This is from Fev at Fev's Football. He provides our questions every week for the quiz. Sam, over the 4-game Christmas and New Year period, who were the top 5 scoring teams?
Point for each?
Okay.
If we're playing each other. Or Leeds thumped your lot, didn't they? Leeds?
Yeah, Leeds are in there. It's 1.
Southampton can't lose. Southampton?
Yeah, Southampton is 2.
Coventry, other form side. Coventry?
Coventry are top of this table. Yep, 3.
2 more, yeah?
Yep.
Leicester?
Of course. If you get 5 for 5, I'm not even answering my question.
1 more for the full house.
I mean, you've won already, but
1 more for the full house. They've been good. Who battered them? Oh, no, Southampton battered them, didn't they, Swansea? What about... I'll go with my instinct. I haven't scored that many.
Gonna have to hurry you.
Ipswich.
It was Plymouth, but that's a bloody good show for 4 out of 5, Sam. So you may as well ask me my question, but there's no chance I'm pulling this one out of the bag.
No, but I think that certainly...
I'll have a go anyway.
It certainly favoured me, didn't it? The 5 lowest scoring clubs. Let me just double check. That's what we're after. Yeah, over the 4-game Xmas, Christmas and New Year period, who were the lowest 5 scoring teams?
Ipswich.
Correct. 1 from 1.
Hopeless, weren't they?
You know what? Because I got 4, I'll give you 7 to get your 5. I'll give you 7 guesses. QPR yet?
Preston were in rank form, weren't they?
Do you want to lock it in?
Yeah.
3 from 3. 2 to get.
Watford.
Incorrect.
They drew 3-3, didn't they, with someone?
I'll give you 3. I'll give you 3 guesses to get the 2.
Am I allowed to look at the table?
Yeah, you can look at the teams. No, you can't look at the table. But
I'm just looking at teams. Bristol Rovers. No. Cardiff.
Nope.
Oh, Stoke.
Nope.
Oh,
1 more guess for the tie. 1 more guess for the tie.
West Brom.
Correct. I'll give you a point.
What were the 5 answers?
Yeah, the one you didn't get was Norwich, who scored. Has he done this? 2, 3, I think. Yeah, scored 3.
There you go. I don't know what the scores are on the doors. Sam's winning the quiz anyway by a fair amount. Right. Look, we're going to have to wrap up there. So the first thing we're going to say is thank you. I know that people don't like change and we've moved to a Monday night. I think you're going to love it in the end because we can get some clips out during the week and we're a little bit closer to the weekend. We've already got the predictions out for the week, which is fantastic. And Sam, we're going to be back at 7:30 next Monday night. No Q&A today. We don't have time. Apologies for that. We'll talk faster next time. Last word from you, Sam, ahead of the last 20 now as we return for round 27.
Yeah. As much as I love the FA Cup, let's get the Championship back up and running. Carabao Cup tomorrow night for me. Is that a better competition than the FA Cup? A colleague of mine said that the other day. Controversial, but I'm looking forward to seeing our Middlesbrough fare. And we'll be across the Championship and looking forward to our new Monday slot next week. Speak then.
Amen. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening. If you're watching after the fact, come and join us on a Monday. If you're listening after the fact, we appreciate you. Do leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. This has been the Championship Check-In.